Hey everybody, welcome to the Adventist Hoops podcast. Today I have two people on the show, a father-daughter duo, the Haslams from Chisholm Trail Academy in Texas. We have Dennis, who coached the Lady Blazers last couple seasons, and also senior Allie Haslam, who's going to Walla Walla. Guys, thanks for joining me on the Adventist Hoops podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
So, Allie, I'm just curious, basketball has been a big part of your life. When did you start getting serious about basketball when you were growing up? Was it something you always played, or did you get into it at a certain point?
Well, I started in fifth grade, and then the next year I broke my finger, so I couldn't play that season. But then in seventh grade, when did I start with Travis?
You probably started another year after
Eighth
that,
grade.
but seventh grade was when she kind of took the mantle and really started getting serious about it.
And
Yeah,
Dennis has Oh, sorry, I was just going to ask Dennis, is that something that basketball you've always enjoyed? Is that something you were trying to foster in her, or was that something she just kind of gravitated towards?
You know, football's always been my favorite sport. And as a girl dad with two girls, I wasn't aware of any tackle football opportunities for them. So basketball being my second favorite sport, very quickly jumped football in terms of my priorities at home.
A lot of states now are providing, interscholastic flag football for girls. California just instituted that last season, so maybe there'll be more states across the country that are, doing that. But yeah, basketball is kind of a great one to get into. So, were you involved at Chisholm Trail in playing, Allie, or was that something where you were playing like in a city league or a club team or something like that? What kind of teams were you playing?
I was just playing at my school, BAS, just on their team,
Is that
and
Burton?
Burleson Adventist
yeah,
School.
Burleson Adventist School.
Burleson. Okay, nice.
And then when did I start?
So
Freshman year with AAU?
basically, the Burleson Adventist School is small enough that they don't have an elementary team, and so that's why, as a fifth grader, she was playing on the seventh and eighth grade team, but she was not eligible to play in games. So she basically just practiced her fifth grade year, and then kind of redshirted. She got in the first game her sixth grade year, and then broke her finger and missed the rest of the season. Did get to play in the tournament at the end. She was even out there with a cast on that they, let her pad up. But then seventh and eighth grade were junior high at Burleson Adventist School. Her eighth grade year there was her, another teammate that was with her here at Chisholm Trail, another that went to public school, and I want to say played 1 year in public school and high school, and then two other girls that never played before or after, but did play for their eighth grade year. And then our entire bench was three sixth graders playing for the first year, playing up. So it was humble beginnings, but you get a lot of minutes that way.
And then you started going to Chisholm Trail. Were you playing from your freshman year on?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I had AU, I think, after freshman year. And yeah,
How much did AAU help you develop? I mean, sometimes people, maybe it's just cliche to say, "Oh, you got to play club basketball," but do you feel like it really took your game to another level, or it was just, the amount of practice and repetitions you were getting going to all those practices and tournaments and stuff?
it definitely helped, I would say, especially with me in my being aggressive and just getting after it in that aspect, because sometimes in like Burleson Adventist School and CTA, the teams maybe aren't as good, and so they're not as aggressive. And then so it's really good to experience that in AU with better teams and more pressure on you. And so that would be the main thing that I got
What was
from
your
it.
experience in AAU? I mean, overall, did you enjoy it? Sometimes people complain that it's like not a healthy environment. Everybody's about themselves. It's selfish. They don't teach basketball the right way. What was your experience?
Well, I did have a great experience. I did 1 year with just the Hawks, which was kind of like a bigger group, and then I went to the JC Thunder, which is just at Keene ISD. Coach Bell, he made an AAU team with most of the girls there and a couple from Godly.
Just surrounding schools, yeah.
Yeah. Those were mostly it. And so all the girls were like already, most of them, well, some of them knew each other, and they were all really nice. And he's a great coach, Coach Bell. So it was a good experience for me. And it wasn't like people were selfish and mean. So it was a really
Yeah.
good environment for me.
Good.
I think that she had a bit of an atypical experience. She did get the benefits of going up against girls that were really physical and aggressive from the other teams. But um, when she was with the Hawks organization, she was kind of an add-on during COVID when like we had not even sought club ball before. And then we heard about the opportunity because there were not a lot of opportunities. And then with the local one, Coach Bell was so laid back about whether she made it to the tournaments or not, whether like it was just he was there for the girls, and there was not the cutthroat. You're trying to step on your teammate to get more minutes and that sort of thing that I think some people experience.
Yeah. I know for a lot of kids too, there's no leniency or there's no provisions for any type of Sabbath observance or anything like that. It's just like if you can't come, like you can't be on the team. So it's always good to be able to find those programs that are a little more supportive with the person, with who the kids are. Yeah. So great. I mean, Dennis, did you like learn anything? Did you take anything from that in as a coach leading into your future experience with Chisholm Trail?
I'll be honest with you, I did not envision myself really coaching, but my older daughter, Abby, she's 2 years ahead of Allie. And so she started, we had kind of homeschooled the girls at the very beginning. And then when they joined um, Burleson and had the opportunity to play sports, like I've always been a sports nut. And so I was kind of excited about that. So I was the self-appointed team booster. And another friend was coaching for the first 2 years that Abby was there. And so he coached Allie for that fifth and sixth grade year. And then his youngest graduated. And so I was the next volunteer to step in. So I did the 2 years in junior high, but just kind of the way I am, I did not feel like me just showing up was going to be enough. So I quickly joined the PGC coaching organization. Have read so many books, been to coaching conferences, online learning, just anything and everything that I could to try to give the girls the best in the limited time I had with them.
That's awesome. Yeah. A lot of times you find it in smaller Adventist schools, someone has to fill the role, so they do, and they show up, and they're probably a great mentor and role model, but don't have a background in coaching and maybe don't even know where to look for resources. So that's great that you took the initiative to kind of seek those out and what did you like most about, and PGC is Point Guard College for people that aren't aware, what did you enjoy most about that platform?
So Allie, like one of the best investments we've ever made. I know this is not supposed to be an ad for PGC, but um, we got her a lifetime membership early on. And so we have so gotten our money's worth out of that because every year she goes to up to 3 camps free, and it goes through college as well. So that was something that we were blessed to invest in early on. So it is not as cost prohibitive for us as it would be if we were doing it a la carte. But they have a little different take on things. And my older daughter went to a camp as well, and she came back saying, Dad, like I'm not interested in basketball, but this leadership stuff is really cool. And
Interesting.
so it is life lessons, it is leadership, it's preparing you for life after sports as well. And then the coaching angle, they for the first year, they called it Key Five coaching, and they've gone back to now calling it PGC coaching, but it's because they look at it as more than I think a lot of people do. A lot of people look at coaching as X's and O's, strategies, and then player development, teaching skills, and then it stops there. And they add three more layers. They consider master teaching, something that a coach should strive to learn. Also leadership, and then development of a culture. And so those added aspects really resonated with me. I work in a hospital environment where culture is really a big deal. And so I was blessed. There's a lot that I've taken from what I've tried to learn in coaching and taken it to my day job.
Yeah, it is interesting. A lot of those camps, you're just learning skills and you play games, and that's kind of it. But I've heard at PGC camps, kids are going into classrooms and they're like, taking notes on things. They have notebooks and they're really, studying and talking more cerebrally about things and how to be great leaders. And that's interesting. I wasn't aware of the lifetime um, membership. That's a really cool opportunity for people to take. We've actually been talking about, like, is there a way that we can equip and empower Adventist coaches similar to that situation I brought up where it's, a teacher at the school that they need someone to coach the team. And so they end up, having being thrust into that role without any kind of background. And is there some coaching tips and wisdom and knowledge that can be imparted by a lot of our more experienced Adventist coaches through Adventist Hoops? So that's something that we're talking about right now, is having some sort of, you don't want to compare it to PGC, but some sort of like online learning community that can support the Adventist coaches that are out there. So stay tuned, everyone.
I love the idea. I can
Yeah.
certainly help you with a reading list if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. What is your favorite coaching book that you read?
Well, so I think the first one that I would share for coaches, not for personal development, would be The Power of Moments
Mm,
by the Heath brothers. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
no.
it is it is learning what is the recipe for creating an environment where just incredible memories can happen.
Mm.
And so the hoops tournament is one of those types of events, right? Where it's going to be memorable no matter what. Um, but I felt a sense of urgency. And then when I learned of that book, then I found out, what, my hospital system actually promotes this as well, but I learned about it through coaching. It's
Mm.
really a way to make special moments. I think every teacher and coach and leader should really read the book.
I wanted to ask you guys about, you mentioned the hoops tournament. It's Southwestern Adventist University's Hoops Classic. If people aren't familiar with that tournament, that's one that I assume Chisholm Trail goes to every single year. What makes that tournament so special?
Um, well, a lot of it is just good like competition with the rest of our schools that are close, like North Dallas and Burton, just like playing against like people and I don't know, I think a main part of it is just that, and for some people it's like seeing some friends, and but yeah, just the competition between maybe people and schools. And
And you guys had a
yeah.
very successful run at this last tournament. You won the championship. I'm just curious for some context. What was your experience or finish? What was your finish like over the last few seasons before this last season at the SWAU tournament?
So Allie's freshman year, a little pandemic got in the way.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
then her sophomore year, the girls finished third. And then last year, congratulations, North Tampa, our girls took second. And then this year, so we moved up a notch each year.
Got some get back this year. Very nice. So, talk about that run this year. And you guys had a great team. What was the tournament like for you? Was there any tests along the way, or was it really, really close? The toughest competition in the championship game.
I would say it was definitely there was a big leap of
Hmm.
competition, or at least for our team, with the championship game. But
Someone
yeah.
told me that game started at like 1 a.m. or something like that. Was it really that late?
I think that's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is
Okay.
pretty late.
Yeah.
Some years it might,
Yeah.
but this year I don't believe it was that late.
Okay.
But that being said, our team last year was the most successful year in Lady Blazers history
And when you
to
say
that
last year,
point.
you mean this
I mean
past season
the
here?
22-23
Oh,
season.
okay.
And so when you look at Max Prep's ranking, when you look at final win percentage, and then they won their TCAF state championship, which is something that they hadn't done for a while. And so coming off of that, we lost 4 players, our 2 tallest players. We lost our leader in rebounds, blocks, steals. We lost 2 of our top 4 scorers. And so we knew we're not going to apologize. We knew we had a good team. But our tallest player was Allie at 5'8". And so we knew we were going to have some challenges when we faced size. And so we really only had 4 or 5 close games all season. We went 30-2. And I feel like we had asked our AD to schedule us tougher competition this year in anticipation of being a good team. And we were able to schedule, 4A public school, 5A TAPS, which is the biggest Christian league in Texas, school, some really good homeschool units. And so we did our best to get some good competition. And in my view, that one that we lost against the homeschool club, Dallas Thunder, we were missing a starter and a couple of our other players to a gymnastics trip. We'd love to have that one back, but they have a really good team. One of their players is a junior, already has D1 offers. And then the Grapevine Faith one, really blessed. We played at their place, and both of those games, 1 or 2 point games with just a couple minutes left. And I really think that experience set us up to be successful at hoops. Like the girls figured out that they belonged.
Mm. What was the championship game like against North Tampa?
It was definitely, well, for me, it was the most fun game. I feel like a big part of the game and how we won is that our team, we met before the game, so we were all kind of like together and more like locked in. And I feel like a big part of it is that we were all like, we started off really aggressive. We started off in man, which was maybe not what some people would do just since they had a huge height advantage on us. But we just obviously kept saying, super aggressive, never let off the gas. And I feel like that's the main reason that we won that game.
Did you feel like, and I didn't get to watch it, but did you feel like that pressure wore them down over the course of the game, or that they weren't used to teams playing them man?
Yeah,
Why
I
was that
think
effective?
they were definitely not used to teams playing man because of their height, and they were maybe like caught off guard, but our team just played very well together in that game. And yeah, what do you think?
I think for me, number one, a theme that we've had these past couple years has been gratitude. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunities that I've had to have a front row seat to all of this. But if you look at that game, I think it encapsulates a lot of what I have to be grateful for. I feel like our girls embraced what we were trying to teach them, strengthen all throughout the season. And yet, like that Tampa team, I'm so grateful we even got to play them. Like those are girls on that team. I'm fully convinced we're going to be watching on TV in a few years. Like they've got some really, really nice players, very competent, excellent coach. Like for us to share the court with them was an honor and something that I'm grateful for. And then for our girls to control what they could control. We can't control whether they're making or missing their shots, but we can control our energy, our effort, and our confidence. And to see our girls battle from the beginning, get down, overcome adversity, hit some really big shots at the end, like I'm so blessed.
What a great way to end that tournament and your last year, Allie. And Dennis, you've mentioned it was your last season coaching. So, really exciting for you guys to be able to go out that way. Now, did you guys also have a playoff run in the state playoff? How did that work out?
We did. Our league is a smaller league.
Okay.
And so we kind of knew from the beginning of the season. It was going to be a rematch with the team that we met in the finals last year. They're a very solid team. They played well against 4 and 5A TAPS teams. And so we knew the competition would be good in the championship.
Are the higher numbers in Texas smaller
Higher is
schools?
bigger. So
Higher is
6A is
bigger.
the
Okay.
biggest.
Okay.
6A is the biggest. And we, I believe, are joining TAPS officially this coming year. And so we'll be joining 3A. So we would be on the level of the 3A schools. And so a 4A or a 5A would be a bigger school than us. The semifinal is against a friend that I've made through PGC coaching clinics as well as through competition. Great guy. To paraphrase his quote, he's like, I scouted y'all, but you can't be ready for that speed until you see it. So the semifinal game was one where everybody got to play, and it was a lot of fun. The refs had a lot of fun with our pregame handshakes and just
I was going to ask, I saw a highlight where, it started off with you guys having a little did you have pregame, like introduction handshakes with everyone, just Allie? How did that work?
It started with Allie in junior high, and then this year we added it with everyone. So we did it with starters, and so each of the girls worked on one. I will say that if you watch the whole game video, the ones that don't classically start, you will see me looking down at my notes right before they come up, because yes, I didn't get to practice with them enough to feel like it was completely internalized, but certainly the starters, I got that down now.
Allie, what has it been like having your dad as a coach? Has it been annoying at times to have this person that you got to go home with after the game? Has it been frustrating? Has it been fun because you can, you've talked about something throughout the week at home that then you already know you're on the same page during the game? What is it like having your dad coach you?
Well, for me, it is actually really fun. I know for a lot of people that I know, if they have like their dad as a coach, a lot of them don't have good experiences, and maybe they're really hard on them, but maybe too much. And so it like breaks down their relationship a little bit. But for him, he's definitely learned a lot from PGC, and I don't know, he's very good at being hard on me because he tells the other girls too, like he was gonna try to be the hardest on me, but then he's not just mean all the time, bring me down. Like he is one of like my biggest cheerleaders too. So if anything, he's just more positive with me. And yeah, it's really fun to be working with him because we get to spend more time with each other there too, because lives are busy sometimes. But yeah, so I've had a good experience with it.
Did you say that he told everyone that he's going to try to be more hard on you as his daughter, so they were just aware of that?
What was the quote that you said of the?
They didn't have to guess. It was pretty obvious. I know that I had read multiple places where Greg Popovich singled out Tim Duncan for the most criticism so that people knew, hey, don't take it personally. If I'm this hard on Mr. All World, Mr. Hall of Famer, I'm not being mean when I'm holding you to a high standard as well. So that was intentional. But I'm just so grateful. One of the things that I learned in some of the coaching clinics that I went to, apparently there's a little research around it. But the most important thing that a parent can say to a child after a game is, I love to watch you play. And in multiple places, I heard of coaches and or players whose relationships with their parents were damaged from parents wanting to give immediate feedback, whether they coached them or whether they were just a parent driving them home. And so I tried to share that with my parents every year, that every time on the drive home, I don't care if you're mad at the refs or mad at the coach or proud of them or mad at them, make it a habit. Get to where they expect it. I love to watch you play. And so bringing that to coaching allowed me to separate a little bit and not just always be in her ear about what she needed to improve. And yet, when we were on the court, I held her to a high standard. And I think that's where AAU helped me, is that when I thought I was being tough, she knew I wasn't being as tough as a lot of other coaches.
Mm.
And so felt like I was being a softie, even if it was a little tougher than what some of the other girls were used to.
And I would say, especially in, well, some of my teams, you would definitely hear, like, after they played a bad game, obviously the coach is like coaching them up, giving them constructive criticism. And then they just go to their parents and they're kind of just only telling them what they did bad, even if like maybe they already know. And he could tell, like, if like I had a bad game, obviously, like I know, and maybe I'm not feeling too good about it, obviously. And he would always like know when like was the right time for like maybe constructive criticism, because you do need to learn from bad games and mistakes. That's how you get better, obviously. But and then also not just absolutely criticizing every single thing every time I play bad or make a mistake. So I feel like that was definitely a big thing. So
Mm. That's a great line. I loved watching you play because no matter what happens, that's ultimately what you care about too as a parent. Like you're there to support your kid and you did enjoy it, even if it didn't go your way or there was some injustice that happened, ultimately that's the most important thing. So great advice. I like that. Very good. Um, I wanted to ask about this girl named Chloe Griswell. Do you guys know her? And who is she? What kind of player is she?
okay. Well, so this year she was a freshman. She's my cousin. So I will say on our success this year, she was a huge part in that. We would not have gotten any of the probably any of the um awards and stuff that we did without her. She her main sport is soccer, so she doesn't even play basketball like as her main sport, but she's just very, very shifty, athletic, has great endurance, and she was a huge part in like everything. Like if I need to go out of the game, like she's a great point guard, knows how to drive really good, can shoot now, and yeah, she definitely is the reason that we are a faster paced team this year, is because she does like push the ball up the court, and she kind of made our whole team faster, which is why we did so good, I think.
And you're a point guard, but she's also a point guard as well. So who brought the ball up? Did you guys share that? How did the offense? Who ran the offense?
We did switch back and forth. So maybe it was her most of the time, would you say? Maybe just 50-50?
It,
Maybe
it
her more of the time.
it varied a lot from game to game. I'd say over the course of the season, maybe 60-40. Chloe brought it up a little bit more. I think part of that is because it's all she's ever known. She's always been the best player on her teams, and so it's very natural for her. But she also wants to win and loves her cousin, and so she was willing to play off the ball as well. And when we're playing the better teams, if you're a one trick pony, they can take that trick away from you. But when you have two point guards on the floor,
That's
you have
nice.
options.
Well, Chloe averaged 18 points per game. Bright future for Chisholm Trail over the next few years with her there. So um, I wanted to ask you guys about the Dallas Mavericks. And Allie, you've been a ball kid. I don't know what the official term is for the Mavericks. How long have you been doing that?
I think it was 4 years, 5 years. I think
I
four.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mostly through high school. So what has that experience been like for you?
So, it's a really cool experience. So, what I do is, as a ball kid, you are like the first people that the fans see when they walk in the door. Sometimes we like pass stuff out, and when you get like older and have been there for more years, you work like on the floor, like mopping. So at the last game, even like I was in there fourth quarter, mopping up the floor, like when players fall down and just stuff like that. And So yeah, that's the main thing. It's really cool. And they have like at halftime, we all like come together and Coach Ben is like the leader of that. And he gives us lots of like leadership advice, like just life advice in general, and just teaches us stuff that us like kids should know and that will help us in our future. So it's been a really cool experience with how you're involved with the Mavs and what you learned from it. So
What has been the coolest interaction that you've had with a player or one of the coaches?
um I don't know. Maybe just, well, I don't know. It's hard to choose.
Pick a couple.
Well, I think it was like like 2 games ago. Dwight, he's if you see him pregame, he's very funny.
Dwight
He's like
Powell.
a little little kid. So he always like him and Maxie usually um go and like run full sprint at people, and then like Maxie usually grabs him, so people are like scared and like ah. So then one time he just like ran straight at me and like kind of like acted like he was gonna run into me just because he's just a funny guy. So that was really fun. Um, hmm, other experiences. I mean, you also get to rebound for the players, so it's cool just rebounding for like really famous, really good players on the opposing teams. So that's always really cool to just be able to do that and be so like close to them and working kind of with them. So I would say that just in general is really cool.
That's really cool. And you guys are happy because the Mavs just beat the Thunder to advance to the Western, right? Western Conference
Yeah,
Finals.
Western
Yeah,
Conference
that's
Finals.
exciting. Exciting. We're recording this in May 2024, so yeah, we'll see how far they go here. Ali, I was going to ask you about this senior year. Obviously, there's a lot of success that your team is experiencing, and then you're also at the same time considering, hey, where am I going to go to college this next year? So for you, was it an involved process of honing in on a school that you wanted to not only attend but also play basketball at? Were you having any conversations with college coaches throughout that time, or did you just kind of wait until you were going to visit campuses? What was your recruiting process like?
Well, even at junior year, I wasn't really sure if I could or even wanted to play college basketball. This guy's the main reason that I am where I am today because um, even when I was younger, he definitely did it the perfect way. He encouraged me to keep playing until I was good enough to really see if I actually liked the game. And then he kind of left it up to me to train and put in the work, which is, I think, what every parent should do. And but yeah, I sometimes I'm not really sure. Like, I never thought I could play college basketball at all. And so he's the reason that I even knew that I could and would be able to play. So I wasn't even going to visit Walla Walla, and he told me, you should check it out. They have basketball. Maybe you would like it. And which he doesn't, he leaves up to me for the choice, obviously. But so yeah, there were other coaches reaching out. Um, but I ultimately wanted to go to an Adventist college, so that was the main option.
When did you realize, hey, I do want to play college basketball? Was there a moment where you're like, yeah, I can do this and I think it'd be fun?
Um, Maybe just during this season, like maybe halfway through, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, this
you can do
maybe
this.
could be realistic for me.
Yeah, yeah. And when you went to Walla Walla, I mean, what was your experience? Why did you decide to go ahead and attend Walla Walla and play there?
So it's a really cool campus. Everybody there that I met at least were really nice. When I met the coach, he's a really cool guy, really nice, and I got to have like a little tryout because I was there for U days, so they have basketball tryouts, and I got to meet some of the girls, and you could tell they're like very skilled, but also like all of them are really close. They're like a family, and they're really fun, and I just thought well, this checks all the boxes on my list. So I really liked it. So it's really good experience.
And you told me previously that you are nursing, and Walla Walla's got a good nursing program, so that fits as well. So, well, it's going to be exciting to see, how you are implemented in their system. Tony Nakashima is a great coach, and he's really had in his short career of, I don't know how many years he's been coaching, 10, 12 years. He's been in a lot of great programs, learned from a lot of great people, and now he's building something there at Walla Walla that I think it's exciting for you to be a part of. So, um, I have a question right now. You're going to graduate maybe this next weekend, maybe the weekend after. I don't know when your graduation is, but what is something that you kind of need to work on between now and this fall, basketball wise?
I'd say specifically just having really tight handles, because if I am going to be maybe the point guard, then especially me, since I'm not the quickest person out there. I'm a little bit slow, but so I feel like that has to be really precise. And then definitely making my range a little bit longer for threes.
Yeah, it's a step back now to get 3 points for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Is that something that your dad's going to help with? Do you have a trainer that you go with? Is that just in the backyard or at the school gym? What kind of situation do you have when you train?
Mostly just in my backyard, or I train with Travis. He coaches the women at Southwestern Adventist University. So I train with him most of the summer. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Dennis, I wanted to go back to something you were talking about when or maybe Allie was talking about it actually, just the dynamics of when to provide criticism, when to provide, positive reinforcement. How have you navigated that with your team? And what have you learned about when it's appropriate to really lay into players versus what are the dynamics when you really can't do that and you have to just like be the calm presence of, we're not going to get into critiquing right now. Hey, you guys need to be uplifted and we need to keep the positive energy up. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, well, I will say first and foremost, I've done it imperfectly. Um, and so it's been kind of by trial and error. My wife is probably the main person that has come to me and said, hey, you look like you were really lighting into the girls. You might want to ease up on that. That was last season one time. And I was being intentional. Like it was during a blue-white game right before we had our playoffs. It was an intra-squad scrimmage, and they were playing at the end of the game as though like they had no concept of end of game scenarios. And here we're about to start the playoffs. So I was trying to get their attention, but it was a mix of JV and varsity. And so I thought that I was trying to navigate that by really upping my volume, because this was on the sidelines at a game, but it was a mixed team, JV and varsity split on each squad. And then after my diatribe, I kind of smiled and looked at all the JV players. I said, now y'all really want to play varsity, don't you? And I tried to take the tension down, but still get their attention. But my wife came to me afterward and said, you may want to modulate just a little bit better there. But I've been really blessed with amazing assistant coaches. Last year, Coach Stephanie, her daughter, was our 6-footer, and she brought less of the basketball acumen and more of the team mom. And yet she loved the girls up so much that I tended to feel a little bit more liberty, because I knew that they were all getting all their hugs and getting all their positive reinforcement. And maybe I was a little bit more on the constructive end of the spectrum last year. This year, Chloe's mom, Carrie, is just a really sharp basketball mind, and she played at Southwestern Adventist when she was in college, and was actually on the Lady Blazers team that won the inaugural Swallow Hoops Classic.
Oh, wow.
Back in '97, and so with her being a little bit more inclined to hold them accountable on the basketball end. She's coached probably half the team when they were in elementary school and in junior high. This year, I think I ended up a lot more on the Mr. Positivity and just trying to pump them up and build them up and give them confidence. And so I've been all across the boards, but you try to read the situation. What feedback are they getting from their parents? What are they getting from the other coach? What are they getting from the other players? And I tried to adapt it to the moment, and it's for others to decide how well.
It really is dependent on the situation, right? And there's so many factors that are playing into, hey, this, these kids are really kind of down right now because they lost a relative, and these kids have really been struggling in math, and they have a lot on their mind. This kid just had a breakup, and reading all of that together as a coach and trying to dial in the exact right amount of heat that you might be applying versus just support. It's definitely a dance. So congratulations on doing it well enough to have a really successful last couple of years. So. Hey,
Thank you.
I really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast here. I really am excited for you, Allie, to be able to take this next step and play at the next level. We'll be watching your journey and be rooting for you. Nice Adventist hoop shirt, by the way. Appreciate the support. So look out for Allie with some Adventist hoops gear in College Place, Washington next year. Anything else you guys wanted to say? Otherwise, I'm good. This has been a great conversation.
Well, I do want to say thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. Obviously, as a proud dad of Allie, I love every opportunity for her to be celebrated, but also as a proud coach of all of these other girls that they had a historic year. We've only been using max preps for so long, depending on the school, North Dallas, Burton, us, somewhere around the mid 2000s. But from what I can determine, this was the highest max preps ranking of any girls basketball team ever in the state of Texas since they've been using max preps. And to do that on a team with the tallest player, 5'8", to do that against the competition that they had this year, my heart is bursting with gratitude and with pride. But also gratitude for the opportunity for this to be a family affair. My wife was a team mom and videographer sometimes, the one that filled in the gaps whenever there were gaps to be filled. And then my oldest daughter, Abby, for her to go from being big sister to being the first one on a basketball team to then being cheerleader, even when they were on the same team. And yet you can see the sincerity in her heart, how much she roots for her sister. As a dad, it just melts my heart. And, when we were going over for our year-end celebration, I make a video that's way too long, that takes everyone through the whole season. When they're showing the MVP at hoops, which Allie won that the last couple years, and then also the state championship MVP, you can hear Abby screaming above everyone else, "That's my sister."
Oh.
So I'm just very humbled and very grateful for the opportunity for our family to get to participate, and I appreciate you having us on.
Well, now you get to ride off into the coaching sunset. Hopefully you'll come back to it at some point. I think
we're keeping that. I've got to get myself in a little better health to maybe be around for the grandkids. We'll see.
All right. Well, hey, really appreciate both of you guys. Thank you for being on, and all the best, Allie, this next year at Walla Walla.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be tuning into your future podcasts as well. We really do appreciate what you're doing. It's an amazing thing for our young people to get celebrated, and we would love to celebrate you as well.
Appreciate the support. Thanks very much, guys.